the thing about it that's really fucked up is like it would get to the point where he's now having seizures on stage.
Yes.
And just because of his already kind of weird dancing, like people thought it was part of the act.
They did.
You know, which is crazy. And it's kind of like if you're Ian, like at some point you kind of feel like a prisoner in your own body. Mm-hmm. Because like we said before, like he had these upsetting feelings and things that he needed to get out, and the music was his way to do it.
Yeah.
And now the way that he's able to express that aspect of himself, he can't physically do it anymore because his body is just, it's not working.
Yeah.
So now he's like, what the hell do I do?
Right. Which is sad. You know, he definitely didn't want to take a break. It's sad. You know, I wish he'd held out for much longer. I'm sure there would have been some like studies and stuff because by this time you're pretty famous. You know what I mean? So you're probably going to have people that reach out to you.
Yeah.
So that was pretty sad. But yeah, he was having seizures on stage. People thought it was part of the act. I mean,
they're like, I've never seen somebody dance like that.
Exactly. If I was him, I would just keep it up. I'd be like, yo, just gather around, pick me up and carry me off and just keep playing instrumentals. Like, this is the show, baby. And,
you knew what you're signing up for.
you know, and then, you know, maybe 3 or 4 years later, I'll let it leak out that, I had epilepsy the whole time. But I've got treatment for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, epilepsy can be very dangerous. You fall out, you can hit your head and knock yourself unconscious. Like, there's so much you can swallow your tongue. But yeah, and it's uncontrollable, even with the medication.
He lost control?
Yes, he did. But he wasn't helping it. You know what I mean? You got to help it. You know, I've never heard of anyone epileptic that was necessarily on the brink of suicide. I know that it can depress you, definitely, but I know you gotta work with it.
Right.
You know?
And he just didn't.
No, he
really
didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So at that point, the rest of the band understands that his condition's getting worse. They don't understand how bad it's getting. But they're like, okay, maybe we focus on like recordings. We don't do as many live shows, you know, kind of give you a break. So they go back to the studio to record their second album, which is funny. Like, so like, the album's called Closer.
Yes.
But I always thought it was Closer because it was their last album.
Oh.
Like, I literally thought it was Closer the whole time until I saw somebody talking about it. Like, I was watching, you know, doing research. Well, I knew a few months ago, but I was randomly watching like a Joy Division documentary. I'm like, oh, it's Closer? Interesting.
Oh, man. If it was called Closer, I'd have been like, Ian was a sacrifice. Somebody knew something.
To the rock gods.
That's right.
But yeah, so they go back in again with Martin. Yeah. The magnificent producer. And they really kind of, just further develop the sound from the first album. Yeah. I don't think it's all the way through as one listen. I don't think it's as solid as the first album. Right. But there's definitely very solid tracks.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, you're right about that. I mean, we were talking about it before, like a shadow play, it's not on that, but like shadow play, the guitar solo. It's crazy because the guitar is not even the most focused instrument for Joy Division, right? We focus on the bass and then we focus on the vocals, but the guitar solo for shadow play is one of the best guitar solos I've ever heard in my life. Like, I really love the way it feels. You gonna play it, Dan?
I kind of want to.
The guitar solo, not the bass.
No, I don't know the guitar solo. I know the bass lines because I always think about the bass.
Let's go for it. Maybe for bonus content, I'll sing something and learn that guitar solo.
That's all you get.
Yeah. I love that kind of like. Yeah, that's so awesome. Take that, Billy Idol.
Right. So they put out the second album. Yep. Again, they keep getting bigger and bigger, and Ian's health keeps declining, just like the state of Sifa's mic stand.
Exactly. I don't want to talk.
And they're getting ready to make it to the big time because they're like, we're going to America.
That's right.
We're going to tour America. That's where shit happens.
Yep.
Unfortunately, they never got to do that.
They never did.
Because literally the day before they were scheduled to go play in America, Ian decides, you know what? this is a little too much for me.
It's too much for him.
He gets in an argument with his wife.
Yeah.
And he basically says, hey, I need some alone time.
Yeah.
She comes back in the morning and he fucking hung himself.
And he hung himself. How nice of him. Let's just be honest, Ian, okay? He was like, fuck those Yanks. Can't stand them.
He's like, this is a British thing.
Yeah.
We do this for us.
We keep this over here. We took your rock and roll. We made it better. And we're keeping it.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Joy Division never played a single show outside of Europe.
Never. But downtown Manhattan, you would swear. You would swear it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
You would swear they came and they lived here for like 10 years.
But honestly, like the fact that they never played a single show outside of Europe is honestly kind of impressive. Because they're still so huge and so influential. And when you think about it, like, this was like a pretty small thing relatively. Like, they were, driving around England. The kids, they were like 22, 23 years old. They weren't huge, global superstars. But their influence is just absolutely massive. Like, so much more than so many other bands from that era that were selling out stadiums and were doing huge things.
It's true.
And if Ian, was able to live longer, they would have been one of the biggest bands in the world. Absolutely. Like, there's no way that they wouldn't have.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, that writing style, we were trying to figure out what words we would say to start the podcast off. Like, but just his writing style is crazy. You're on the 10th floor down the back stairs into no man's land. That's insane.
In a room with no windows in the corner, I found truth.
I mean, my goodness.
I remember when I first heard Joy Division, I was listening to that. I'm like, whoa, this is fucked.
Exactly, right? You almost like look over your shoulder, like, who's here?
I'm just like, I'm nervous.
Exactly.
There's no one even around, but like, I'm anxious right now.
Yeah. He's so ominous, that Ian. Like, and in a good way.
Right.
I want this cloud over me.
Right.
I want it to rumble.
And in a way, again, I think it does go back to, they're still living in the shadow of the World War.
Yeah.
And now it's the middle of the Cold War. Yeah. It's the middle of the Cold War.
Yeah.
And there's still this feeling that like, oh, like the world could end due to a nuclear holocaust at any point.
Yeah.
Thank God that's never happened again.
No.
Thank God, nobody has to deal with that now.